So what was written about an eye for an eye in Exodus, Jesus never went against that. Errors in the Bible, or more specifically, Bible contradictions. Type that in Google and the first site you'll come across to is from American Atheists. On their site, they state, if written by a perfect being, then it must not contradict itself, as a collection of books written by different men at different times over many centuries will be expected to contradict each other. They list their contradictions to be the Sabbath day, the permanence of earth, seeing God, human sacrifice, the power of God, personal injury, circumcision, incest, trusting God, the holy lifestyle, punishing crime, temptation, family relationship, the resurrection of the dead, and the end of the world. If you've been counting, that's 15 contradictions listed. I'm not here trying to say that the Bible is perfect. I want to know if these supposed mistakes really show that the Bible is wrong. I looked into this a lot. This is like my third time going over this, but I really want to hear from you. Please share your ideas and arguments in the comment section. Let's talk about it. That's all I got for an opening. But if there is serious injury, you are to take a life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, bruise for bruise. Exodus chapter 21 from verses 23 to 25. You have heard that it was said, eye for eye and tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Matthew chapter 5 from verses 38 to 39. Like, why is it that in Exodus chapter 21 from verses 23 to 25, it stated that we should repay an eye for an eye and any other body part for that matter, while Jesus seems to teach something differently? Why is it that the self-proclaimed Son of God teaches something differently than what the Lord commands? The second part of that question requires a whole different conversation about whether or not Jesus went away with the law. Should we follow the law? Believers follow the law? And I am the law. That's a whole different discussion right there. So what was written about an eye for an eye in Exodus, Jesus never went against that. The concept of eye for an eye is echoed in Leviticus chapter 24 from verses 19 to 20 and Deuteronomy chapter 19 verse 21. However, what most people miss is that the principle was not intended for the average person to execute. Instead, it was for the judicial system of the Israelites to be performed by Israel's judges. Proof of this judicial context is elaborated upon a couple of verses earlier in Exodus chapter 21 verse 22, Leviticus chapter 24 from verses 10 to 12, and Deuteronomy chapter 19 from verses 17 to 18. Just look at the word ordinances at Exodus chapter 21 verse 1. The word literally means judgments. Plus, even in Exodus, the context was just for a pregnant woman, since Exodus chapter 21 verses 23 to 25 is being used. People were not supposed to go around and cause harm to someone if they done harm to them. This was supposed to be brought to a court where Israel judges made a call.
Please rise for the Honorable Judge Stone Cold Steve Austin!
Now, when Christ entered the scene on earth, the law of God wasn't upheld to the standard God envisioned for Israel's teachers. The Pharisees were incorporating man-made laws into God's original intentions. This deviation was inflicted upon in their adherence to human traditions, such as verses in Matthew chapter 15 from verse 3 to 5 and Matthew chapter 7 from verses 8 to 9. Again, people weren't supposed to just pluck someone's eyes out if their eye was plucked out. Jesus wanted us to do something different. Rather than bring them to court or perform the action ourselves, Jesus did not want us to show opposition to a person. He wanted us to forgive them, show grace. Now, eye for an eye. Jesus didn't come to introduce some new commandment. He corrected the Pharisaical corruption of them. The existing law of an eye for an eye was a judicial setting. Throughout his teachings, Jesus aimed to guide Israel back on the track to those who followed the Lord and his commands, to forgive them and to make peace with their enemies.